All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about tracking your trades and the best way to find your profit and your loss on a particular trade before you even get there. All right, so let's take a look and see if we can plan out a trade on uh, Bank of America stock. Okay, so this bar here is the final bar on 3/28/25, which was this past Friday. All right. Today is 3:30 Sunday evening, and we are expecting to continue to sell off into the market on Monday morning because of our push down on Friday in most of our stocks. Okay, so let's pretend we want to go short on the Bank of America ticker. Okay, BAC. All right, so we'll get our little tracker out here. We'll punch in BAC. All right, put in our date, which will be the 31st, I believe. Which would be 3/31. All right, and our shares. How many shares we want to buy? All right, so let's get 100 shares. All right, of Bank of America. Now, if we look over here, our price of Bank of America, our low was 40.99 and our high was 42.62. Okay. Now, if we come over here and we get a closer look of Bank of America, we take this our little quadrant lines. All right, and we put it here and go up to the top of that bar there. This is the bar we're going to be trading. All right, because we know we got our sell-off coming in. We got our moving average coming overhead to help push this down for our short going into the next week of trading. And we know our tariffs are coming, okay, on the 1st. So we know that's going to at least help our trading to the downside unless the president comes out and does something different. We suspect to continue to sell off. So we got our quadrant lines here. When we look at this bar here, the high of this bar was 42.62. So we're going to open up our quadrant lines. We're going to go 42.62 was the high. Okay, and the low was 40.99. Okay, and I like to make it blue because blue's my favorite color. Oh, boo-hoo blue. Let's try that again. Alright, much better. Okay, so now if we go to a smaller time frame, because this is a 3-month and a daily, and that's a daily bar. We'll go to a smaller time frame, and I like to use a 2-minute. Okay, now we see that daily bar there and its movement to the downside. Okay, and in the after hours is what it did in the after hours on that same day. I apologize for that. And we see here is what it did in the after hours. It went to a low of 40.85. Okay, but we know at the end of the close on Friday we were at 41.25. So it's continued to sell off into the after hours. All right, but we're not going to worry about that just yet because what we want to see is if it does open up down here, we want it to bounce back up into this area at least to close that window and then continue to sell off. Okay, so we want to be able to buy the stock up here somewhere. around $41.40. All right, $40.99 is probably our, next option. But we'd rather be around where we closed, so we know that window is closed. Okay. So we want to put in our orders. So if we open up down here, we want to order at $40.99, and order at $41.40, and order at $41.81. Okay, because the chances of it going all the way back 100% are very slim to zero. But a 50% pullback is not unheard of. Okay, but we'd rather it stay up in here, in this area. Okay. Now on our trade, we're going to risk this whole bar. So this whole movement from 42.62 to 40.99. All right. So we can get it in here and it sells off. It'd be better to buy a short at a higher price than to buy it at a lower price. But of course, we want to be in the trade and we want to be out of the trade with a minimal amount of loss. Okay. And we're not so much worried about what we're going to gain as we are what we're going to lose. So we want to protect what we have already. And what we gain is just icing on the cake. Okay. So let's pull up our tracker. Okay, so what did we say we wanted to buy? We wanted to buy at least around $41.40. Alright, so let's say we paid $41.40. Alright, that's a $4,000 trade. Okay, now we bought 100 shares, but we're trying to go short because we know the market's selling off. So we want to short that stock at $41.40. Okay, so instead of it being a positive 100, we want a negative 100. Okay, and we want our stop price to be at a lower price. Now on our chart, let me go back to our chart. Alright, we know we have some resistance at 39.55. Okay, we know that was a good support area at one point. So we may head back to 39.55, and if that doesn't hold, then we're going to head lower. Okay, so let's say that's going to be our first stop point, 39.55. Alright, so our price target is going to be 39.55. Okay, which our potential to gain is $185 on that trade. And our stop price is going to be the top of this bar, which is 42.62. We'll make it 43 even. Alright, so we'll say 43 even is our stop price. Okay, and what we stand to lose is $160. Okay, so we're risking $160 to make $185. Does that sound like a good trade? Not really. Alright, but you do run that chance, and you can always cut it off sooner than that. You don't have to wait for it to go all the way back up here and stop you out of this trade. It's probably better if you did wait before that, because we know we are heading in the down market, and a lot of times these they like to kind of scare you out of your trade. Now, a better way to do this probably would be to buy it in trenches. Instead of just throwing the whole $100 at it, or buying the whole 100 up front, you can break it up into quarters. Or if you want to, break it up in halves. But that's your potential risk. So you may have to take some off if you don't want to risk that much. Okay. So let's see if we make it. If we buy 50 shares. Alright, so now you're only risking $80, but you're only making a potential win of 92. So the risk and reward, if that's a real good risk to reward there. Okay, on this particular trade. Now, if we get down here and this doesn't hold and we break through, now your chances of making more is better. You know, let's say if we continue this move on through that we put here, let's see what that put us at. So this sell to here, okay, so we get a duplicate move. Alright, that'll put us down around here. And that price is 35.70. Alright, so let's see. Let's say we do break through here and we get down to, we'll change that back to 100. Alright, and we get down to 35.70, which is our next support area. Alright, now we're looking at 570 to 160. Okay, that we're risking. Alright, so now the trade looks a lot better, okay, because we're risking $160 to make $570. That's not a bad trade. Okay. The thing is that we just need to have a failure in this area and continue to sell off. And let's see how close we are to actually being in a good support area. And we got it right here. Let's see. So we know that was an area of interest, bounced around there quite a bit. Not actually a support area there, but it did bounce around in that area. But more of the support is probably more down around here. This would be more of our support area here. Okay. In there. Alright, that part there was more where we gapped up at. So we did get a gap right in here, in this area here. So that's where our support from there comes from this window that was opened. Okay, so this is just another area of support, but our main support is down here at 38.52. Okay, which kind of changes everything as well. If we get back to our chart and we change that to our stop price to 38.52. Okay, now we're looking at oops. We want to change our price target to 38.52. Alright, our stop price remains the same. 40, what was that, 43? Alright. So we're risking 160 to make 288. That's a little bit better. Alright. But we really would like to see it get down here. So, or lower, of course. And let's see what happens when we get back further out. So is that a good support area? No, maybe we hit this area here. So yeah, that looks like it may be a good area to come back for some support where we touched before, but I would probably like to find a much better area than that. So we may have to go further out in time. I mean, this is Bank of America, so there may not be an actual better spot at all, other than down here at back to $29. But let's see, financials. So there's a few touches in here. Alright, so we have our price levels. Okay, so with our chart, and we're looking to get to 34.55. So our price target now, instead of 38.52, which would be a potential win of 288, we're going to go for a price target of 34.55. Okay, which is $685 and risking $160 on the trade. Okay, and we're hoping that we get the same move here down to here or more. Okay, we're trying to get a little bit more than this move. Alright, which might take some time to get there. Okay, so we have to be mindful of how the trade is playing out. Alright, we know we're in a market that's potentially getting ready to sell off. So this is our trade to the downside that we're trying to trade. Alright, now all we got to do is put our trade on in the morning, hopefully at a good price. Alright. So let's go here. Alright. So what we could do, we can buy 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, 25 here. Alright, and hope it, continues to sell off. Or we can just wait for the pullback, because we know we're going to get a pullback, okay, into here somewhere, and then buy it up in here for a whole purchase of 100 shares. Okay, but we don't want to miss our trade, and we would like to get it in here as if possible, because we want to make sure that there are no open windows in that trade. Okay, so 41.40 would be optimal or better. Okay, so that's it. Now we just sit and wait. All right. So that's it on the setting up your trade and tracking it. Alright, now we just wait. Oh wait, we missed something here. Let's get this up here. Alright, so we have our trade that we're putting on. We want to we're buying our shares. We're setting our buy order at 41.40. Alright, we got our minnow stop at 43. Alright, because we're going short, we got a minnow stop at 43, and we got our price target of 34.55. Okay. And when we get to 34.55, we can either sell it all, or sell half, or what have you. Okay. Or if we start to see a reversal or a signal that they're buying it back up, we can sell a portion of it, and then, however it works out. But anyway, so we're here. Okay, we got our price target, we got our potential win and our potential loss. We got our risk per share, $1.60 per share, and our date sold, we haven't sold it yet. And our sold price, we haven't got that as well. Okay, so now we're in the trade, so now we need to wait for the trade to happen, and then we'll come and fill in the rest of this. Alright, so stay tuned. Check back for the results of this mock short on Bank of America. I actually have a put on Bank of America anyway, but this is our mock short. Alright. And I think I only bought a lot anyway, so this would be the same as buying a lot. I didn't pay that much because I used about a put April. So actually expires in April. So I'm waiting to see how that plays out. Okay. So this is but I actually bought 2. So I'm actually minus 200. Alright. And we'll see if it comes to fruition. But I have a very limited amount of time. I got to get it done by the 25th of April. And that's another clue as to what put I bought. Alright. So, wish me luck. And same to you if you're going short on Bank of America. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be careful out there. These markets are crazy.